even to use the database, you have to go get a permission for your username to be able to access the database. Okay, that's a very good question, because initially, when I started in the business, there was there were two separate roles. One was the database application developer, and so the database was there, and then somebody like me, I was an application developer. I would build an application on top of the database that solved some customer problem. The customer wants to be quickly able to add data, because during the hours of so and so lots of data comes in and somebody has to type it in quickly, so the input has to be quick, but accessing it can be slow. So there are 2-3 different ways in databases can be optimized. For reading, the other is for writing, and sometimes it is for balancing both. And so managing the database, there was something called a database administrator, right? And even to use the database, you have to go get a permission for your username to be able to access the database. Okay.
Right.
And they were the kings. They were the guys with all the power. They were the guys who, along with the IT folks, would set the policy. Okay, you're from that department, then you are only allowed to access these tables, which makes sense, because some of the tables are finance, and you don't want to make it available to the whole company. So there were policies that the DBA, the database administrator, and then those are still surviving, but a lot of that has changed, partly when things went into the cloud, and partly because application development became so rapid with the arrival of the internet, and the data. We may not like to hear it, but our personal data in the cloud is not that valuable. But in general, the role of the DBA in the average company has kind of disappeared. And typically there are application development teams, and in that application development team, there'll be a database team, and somebody will be in charge of setting up the policies. And it's a lot looser, and therefore, more accidents tend to happen. But what happened is that those databases in the early days were very expensive. You couldn't get a database that I could put on my laptop that was powerful. Now Postgres runs on my laptop. And the biggest change happened was Microsoft NT came along, and then you could run it on your own machine. Okay, that was a big deal.